Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Daryl here, and we're at Sweet Hot Rods and Honey, but it's not so much a hot rod today. It's my Avalon 2013 daily driver that needs a new steering, a mid steering column, because it's been rattling and kind of annoying. It's still operational, but yeah, it annoys me when I hit a bump or make a turn. It just rattles. So let me just show you what I've got to do today, and hopefully I can get this old part off. Here's the new unit that I've got to put on, and it's got two universal joints, and I don't know which one is worn. I think it's this top one, because when I turn the wheel, I can hear just a little clicking, a little looseness up in this top universal joint. So yesterday I was working on it, trying to get the old one off, so I thought I'd give it another try this morning. I've got the wheel off, up on a jack. We got safety jack stands just to keep things from falling on me. But back there is the old part that I've got to get off, and that's a bear. I've got a 12 millimeter bolt that holds the shaft onto the rack and pinion, which is down here. Sorry, lighting is screwy. So that's the real problem. So I'm gonna have to try to, let me show you on the new part, try to open up this spline and this gap. I tried to use some heat with propane. That didn't help. I put some PB Blaster on it yesterday, soaked it. Hopefully that saturated in and will help loosen up the corrosion, the bind or the rust. Now, let me see. Here are some of the tools I've got. It's mainly the hammer and this pry bar. And I'm going to try to get this tip into that groove on the bottom. The top piece. The videos that I've seen online, these guys just pull it off real easy, which is not the case. It's on there. I mean, the car's 11 years old, and it had plenty of time to corrode and to really weld itself together onto the pinion stud. So let me show you underneath what's involved. And there's my helper out there relaxing. I don't know. I might have to cut her pay a little bit. All right, anyway, let me show you here. I think I need a light. So here's the shaft that goes through the floorboard down. And hopefully I'll be able to get this angle there. There's the top universal. That one could be a little bit difficult to take off as well. So I guess I'll get dressed for the garage and try to get these things off again. A good idea to keep things aligned after getting the old part off and putting the new steering shaft in is stabilize your steering wheel for center, and I've got the wheels straight ahead, so they're not going to move at all because I've got just one on the ground, so that's going to hold its location. But yeah, it's kind of semi-critical to get the new part lined up as well as you can, because if it's not centered going down the road straight, your steering wheel will be off, and potentially you'll get a code that will indicate some kind of steering issue. I don't know exactly what that code could be, but I'm gonna probably add a bungee cord too to go from this side over maybe onto the stick shift, just to keep it from absolutely straight. Underneath the car, or under the dash, I was extremely happy and surprised that I could get this top knuckle off of that shaft. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's got a bolt that holds into that groove. And I thought for sure I'd be struggling with this one. But it was really easy. So this telescopes, the intention is to flex when the front suspension gets compressed, hitting bumps, and the rack and pinion gets pushed up. I also think that it's probably partially a safety measure, that if you're in a front end collision, and the suspension gets pushed back, that if it was a solid shaft like the old days in the classic cars, that steering wheel may come back into the driver's chest or face. So it looks like it's a safety thing as well as a practical suspension movement thought. So I'm glad that's off. That took a 12 millimeter wrench, and great. So let me get down underneath the car again and finish trying to get that bottom one off. I have a screwdriver jammed up into that gap, and I've been pounding on it. It looks like it's gone up maybe 1/8 of an inch, but I needed something heavy to hit it with. I have a ball peen hammer, and that just wasn't enough. I have now a pipe wrench that has more weight behind it, and I'm going to try to continue just jamming it up there. My wrist is getting more sore as time goes on. I've had problems with my wrist, and it just hurts. So let me see how this goes. I doubt that you can see any difference. All right, let me try to pound this up there, and I'll get back. Well, I finally got this bottom joint disconnected, and it was a job. It took me, I don't know, many attempts, and I just couldn't get it. But I was using a screwdriver and pounding the screwdriver up into this groove, and that wasn't breaking it loose. And then I was hitting it with a ball peen hammer. Then I decided I'm going to try hitting it with something that has more mass to it. So I didn't have a small sledgehammer with a handle on it. This one, I lost the handle, so I tried smacking it with that, hitting it with this, and it budged a little bit. But the key was I put this screwdriver end up there, and I used a scaler, an air tool. Let me show you what I did. So I have this scaler that I use to knock off scale from metal or rust from metal that is pretty thick. and these little needles have been down. So I tried jamming those up against that joint, and that didn't work. I decided, let me just see what's behind it, and sure enough, it's basically an air hammer with a nice. So I put that up against the screwdriver end, and I just hammered it away. The screwdriver ended up sliding its way up that groove a little bit further from the bottom where I had it initially. It went up, and that may have opened up that joint far enough, and it made it pop off. Thank goodness I had this scaler. If you have an air hammer or air chisel, it basically is what this job needs. Otherwise, you're going to be pounding your wrist to death, which my wrist is killing me right now. It's been giving me a problem. And, I golf once or twice a week, and that aggravates it. Then digging around the garden and out in the yard, that's another part of the problem. And then wrenching on stuff and sanding lately. So anyway, if you have an air hammer or some kind of air tool that will, jam a screwdriver or some kind of wedge up into that groove, that's the key. So now the next part is going to be putting on the new part, which is here. And I think the top, I got the top joint taken off. That really was pretty easy. The bottom, I think, with corrosion and just the way it's made, it's a little tougher. So I think I might take this bolt out of this bottom joint and jam that open and make sure I don't have to fight putting this back on. So I'll dry fit it first and see how it goes. Otherwise, I'm going to open that thing up with a screwdriver. Before we put the new one on the car, I just wanted to compare. This is the original, and you can see how much I spread this joint open. I'm going to spread this one open. I'll try to dry fit it. If it doesn't go on easily, I'm going to take it off, spread that open for sure. And these two units are somewhat similar, but not the same. The factory has a thicker shaft than this aftermarket. As far as the quality of these U-joints, it's hard to say, I don't know. But the way this is oriented, I have these two lined up similar. And I was expecting that on the bottom connections, they would have a similar, angle. But you can see that this U-joint is twisted this way a little bit more, about, it looks like it could be 45 degrees. So compared to this is 45 degrees different than this top joint. The new part is about even. Not exactly the same, but it's closer to zero. It could be 5 degrees off or so. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to measure it. But I just wanted to take a look at the differences here. So when I go to put everything back together, I have the steering wheel locked in place. The front wheels have not changed. So I don't intend to, I'll put this on I'll probably put the top one on first, or maybe, no, I'm sorry. I'll put the bottom one on first, maybe orient it that it will be closer to that angle and then deal with the top. But in any event, the relative angle of the wheels right now relative to the steering wheel have not changed. So I'm hoping that I won't be off by, just a very little error, as in straightness of the front wheels to the angle straightness of the steering wheel. So let me try to dry fit these and see how it goes. Before I put this all back together, I wiped off the shaft and I'm going to put some lithium grease. I wonder if I can get my arm back there. Let's see here. I guess it's going on there. I can't really see. Maybe I might even use some anti-seize. That might help the next guy that's got to change this. All right. All right, let's see if this is gonna slide down very easy or not. I kind of doubt it. No, it's not. It's not going. So I'm going to take that off. I'll take this part down to my vise and jam a screwdriver down there to spread open that gap so that it won't fight me putting it on. After spreading open the gap, I jammed the screwdriver into that joint and fed it through the floor onto the stud of the rack and pinion, and it slid right on. So I think that should be fine. I have not put the top connection on yet, but that's coming next. So let me just put, oops, sorry about that. Let me put this bolt in here. And see if I can reach it. Oh, I can't really see the holes in it. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely a pinch fit. The bolt will go through. There is a groove in the shaft. So let me wiggle this up if I can get this light. Secure it here, and my hand's back there. It's definitely much easier on a lift because you can get to some of this stuff from the bottom. I have a lift, but it is currently occupied. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, so you can see that the fitting is loose enough, but there we go. I think I might need to get a ratchet back there and turn it. I just can't get enough on that bolt with my bare hands. Come on, where are you? There's a 12 millimeter socket. I thought maybe this is not a 12 millimeter bolt. Let me see. Let me take it out of here and check. Now, the new hardware is a 1/2 inch. So at least they got away from the... Oh, let's try this again. I got my 1/2-inch socket. What I probably need is a swivel on that tip. Because I think the sway bar is blocking. No, maybe not. There we go. It's going. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up. I do want to just get it in. All right, that's good enough for now. Now it's coming off of here. Everything's a struggle. Nothing's ever easy. There we go. All right. Let's go up and try to put the top fitting on. I may end up not being able to film to show you this, but we'll try to get this boot in. And it is not going in. All right, I can't do this one-handed, so I'm gonna have to show you after I'm finished with it. Sorry about that. All right, I got this fitting on, and it's not a 12 mm bolt. This new part has a 1/2 inch. Also, so let me see if I can find. Where are you? Come on now. There we go. It is really tight, laying underneath the dash. It's a back killer. But this fitting went on really easy. And this is also a press. It's like a press fit, but there's a groove in the shaft that the bolt catches and it won't slide off if that bolt stays in place. So, all right. So I think we're good there. What I did was I put a little bit of white lithium grease on this because this shaft slides the steering column. I got the boot end down here, and I've got to open that up so it crimps and holds the center fitting in place. So I think we're done underneath the dash. Now I have to go back and tighten up that set bolt on the bottom fitting that connects to the rack and pinion. All right, so here we are again underneath the car, and I think, second thought, I'm going to take this bolt back out, and I want to put some medium strength thread locker on it, and just to make sure that it does not back out when we don't want it to. Let me see if I can get this back on here again. I used some blue thread locker and got it on the threads. So let's put it back on the fitting. It's cheap insurance and it's worth it for safety and peace of mind. Well, the only thing left to do is put the wheel on and take it for a test drive. But I think since I have these wheels off, I'm going to swap the front to the back and rotate at least this side of the car. So, jack stand should be in position. Alright, so let's get this done. I decided to take the car for a little test drive, and sitting in my driveway, I heard more of a clunk than I did before. Right now, I'm not sure if the problem got worse or not. So let me drive down the road and see what happens. A little bit of vibration, not vibration, but a little bit of rattle when I change the direction of the steering wheel, going back and forth. And that's when I could hear it initially, before I changed any parts. But I'm basically going straight right now, and I think I've got, the steering wheel is not straight, so it's just off maybe by one tooth on the shaft. I don't hear anything bad when I'm hitting a bump. No rattle sound. It's relatively quiet, but I still feel like there's still a problem. And the problem may be up in the top side of the steering column. We're going over a speed bump right now. Nothing bad there. No major rattles. There's another speed bump. And that was quiet. So I'm not hearing the same noise that I did before I changed the part. And so I'm at a loss. But for now, I'm going to let this go as it is. I'm not going to change any more parts and do more of a test drive if it still clunks the way it had. So I'm sitting in my driveway. So when I go all the way to the right and then release, I can feel just a little bit of a clunk. And there's still that noise That may be up in this top part of the steering column. I don't know. I'm a little confused. That'll do it for now. At least I showed you how to change the midsection of the steering column, and I'm not gonna mess around with the top part. There's like a star washer that's that acts as a coupler up in the power steering unit, or the steering dampener, and that may be what's making the noise. But it's a pain, in my opinion, to get everything apart. Take the steering wheel and the top section off, and I'm gonna just drive this as it is and see what else I can determine. If it bothers me, eventually I'll swap that out, but for now I'm gonna let it go. It shouldn't be a safety hazard. So anyway, if you liked the video, I hope you got some information out of it, and I'm glad that I got that bottom coupler off. That was the biggest hassle, and so the new part going on was pretty easy. So, all right, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.